Oh, hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to today's Monday's Q&A, the first live of the year, and I am pumped to be able to share with y'all, answering some of your questions, but also giving you some of the tea in terms of questions that I asked you guys not too long ago. So there were a couple questions that I asked not too long ago in terms of what you wanted to see more of. What did you want our first topic to be for the new year? And I am excited to be able to do that with you guys today. So, do me a favor, introduce yourself as you are coming into the room. If this is your first time catching a live, I want you to drop a one in the chat. If this is your first time catching a live with me, I want you to drop a one in the chat. If this is not your first live, if you are true to this and not new to this, I want you to drop a two in the chat. Okay. If this is not your first live, you've done this with me before. I want you to drop a two in the chat and tell me where you are joining me from. Okay. So if this is your first time, I want you to drop a one. If this is not your first time and you've been rocking with your girl for some time, I want you to drop a two and tell me where you are joining me from. But I want to be able to kind of get in and just kind of share with y'all what are some of the things that I am seeing on this end, how you can prepare, and what you can expect. So I see on YouTube, I see we have Memphis, Tennessee is in the building. Hey, Memphis. Let's see. I have Southern California. Nigeria is in the house. Boston is in the building. Maryland is in the building. Okay. Awesome. For those of you who are dropping twos, if you are dropping a two in the chat, can you help me welcome the ones? Can you help me welcome the ones? So if this is your first time catching me live and you're like, who is this individual? My name is Susanna Briscoe-Alba. I'm the lead career strategist at Dunamis Coaching and Consulting Services, and we teach you how to land six-figure roles through leadership development and career strategy. And that's what I devote myself to. That's what I am passionate about, is helping women of color land six-figure roles. I am based out of the United States. And so a lot of the information that I'm going to be sharing with you is going to be based off of my experience here in the United States. If this is your first time catching a live with me, I'm going to encourage you to have something to write with, okay? If this is your first time catching me, I'm going to encourage you to have something to write with or something to take notes with. More importantly, that's really what I want to make sure that you get, is that you have the opportunity to take notes. Because for those of the members who are in my tribe and know they've been around here for a minute, you know you're about to get some gems. And yes, I will save this live, but don't be upset if you don't catch it while it's happening. Okay. So the first thing that I kind of want to talk about is what are some of the trends that I am seeing as it relates to the workplace and how you can be prepared. Okay. It comes as no surprise that AI is very much a part of the conversation right now, and it is not going to go away. Okay. It is not going to go away. So when it comes to AI, I want you to be very well aware that AI is not only going to impact the way that the workplace operates, it's also going to impact how you show up. So a couple things that I am referring to when I am saying how AI shows up. I'm going to tell you how it shows up currently. So currently within the world of hiring, we have what is called an applicant tracking system, also known as an ATS. You'll hear a lot of people tell you, make sure that your resume is ATS friendly, all this other stuff. That is a form of AI, okay? And it's been around for a long time. It's the application system, like once you submit your application to a job offer, it's what comes over to our end for us to be able to comb through the candidates and look through who has submitted an application and make an informed decision whether or not the candidate is qualified. And so we've been doing that for a long time. That's not new. What I think I'm going to see more of, and you need to be prepared for, is as AI starts to develop and grow, I think the way that we're going to see AI take over, or not take over, but have just more impact within the hiring practices, is that you'll start to see interviews happening where you log on and you don't see anyone. And that is going to be your first screening interview. Okay. Now, listen, I'm about to drop some stuff for y'all. So make sure you tag somebody who can get this, who will find this information very helpful. Okay. Because I don't think that AI is going to disappear. I think it's just going to get smarter. And I think that as we continue to see AI grow in this type of space, you need to be prepared, not only as a candidate, but also as a consumer. And there's two schools of thoughts that I'm seeing quite a lot of. There's people who are like, want nothing to do with it. I don't want to be bothered with AI. I don't understand it. It's not a part of my world. I'm not interested. And then there's another group of people who are like, bring it on. Let me figure this thing out. The reason that I'm sharing this with you is because I think that we're going to start to see more organizations and more companies have you start your screening process as a part of the application process, with you logging on to a interview and you not meeting anyone, and a series of questions regarding who you are, what you do, and asking you the general questions that they would ask during an interview. And here are some of the questions that they're probably going to ask you at any given point, whether it's with a human being or whether it's with AI. Tell me about yourself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Why are you interested in this role? What do you know about this company? And the last one is likely going to be something surrounding a salary question. Either are you comfortable with the salary that was shared, or what are your salary requirements? Okay. So I want you to be very well aware that that's likely going to be a part of the conversation well before you meet anybody. So those are some of the some of the ways that I think AI is going to start to show up more and more within the world of hiring, and within the workplace. The other way that I think that AI is going to start to make its presence known, after you have gotten a job, is they are going to start to tame tasks that can be easily done, like rinse and repeat. Those are going to start to be given to AI, and employees will have to get smart. Like you're going to have to understand what it is to create a prompt, how to create a prompt so that you can get to the extended result. So one of the things that I've done on this page is that I'll share with you like AI prompts that you can share within Chat GPT to help you write your cover letter, to help you identify some key terms a that are within a job description. Like those are the types of things, those types of prompts are the types of things that you need to be aware of, because AI won't be able to get rid of the human until they know how to be able to prompt it correctly. And while I don't want them to get rid of you, I want you to be ahead of the game. Okay. Ooh, I see somebody got a job. All right, y'all. So we celebrate our tribe over here. So Green Eyed D, I think, she just landed a job after being unemployed since March of 2023. So Diana, honey, we celebrate you. Congratulations. I am so very proud of you, and I'm happy that the information that I shared has been helpful to you, for you to be able to do amazing, amazing things. So congratulations. If you're watching us on IG or if you're watching us on YouTube, please put some shout outs in there. Congratulate our girl. This is an incredible, incredible thing. So congratulations, my love. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Listen, I I get so excited because I'm going to share with y'all just like more stories like these of people in our tribe who are doing incredible things, who are landing opportunities of a lifetime. And this is the stuff that I am passionate about, because this is the type of stuff that's not necessarily taught to you in school. And if I can avoid any of y'all going through the pain and the heartbreak and the difficulty like I went through, baby, I'm going to do that for y'all. which is the reason why I share the information the way that I share. We had our negotiations masterclass that took place last week, and that was nothing short of amazing because people now know how to negotiate. They know how to negotiate confidently. And I'm so very proud, my love. So very proud of you. So congratulations. Congratulations. And for those of you who have interviews coming up, there is a plethora of information on my page to help you to prepare to walk into an interview with confidence. Okay. So spend some time taking a look at that. So when it comes to AI, that's one of the ways that I think that it's going to infiltrate the hiring process. You will log on and you will not see anyone. It'll turn on a computer. I mean, it'll turn on a camera. It'll ask you questions. And based off of how you respond is whether or not you move through the process. Which leads me to the next thing. The next thing that I think is going to be very prevalent over the next couple of years. And it may not take a very long time, like it may not show up right away, but how you present yourself online, I think is going to have a significant impact because of AI. So that's another like trend that I think will happen. Leading, because there will be so much AI, I also think that hiring managers and recruiters are already starting to feel what I call AI fatigue. Okay. And if you are a leader, a hiring manager, or a recruiter, check me. Let me know if you're feeling the same thing when it comes to reading some of these resumes. Like you're starting to get to a point, at least for me, from what I'm seeing, it's starting to get to a point where it's like, okay, I know that you did not write this, because just the way that it sounds, the way that it's been formatted, the way that it shows up is not matching the individual that I am seeing on the other side of the screen or on the other side of the interview table. And so, as AI continues to grow, I think we're going to start to see AI fatigue, where people are going to be like, "Is this really you, or are you just like playing games?" And it's going to make folks very hyper aware, but also hyper focused on being able to identify: is this a real person, or am I going to be at the hiring table again? And I can tell you from a hiring manager's perspective, like I don't want to be conducting interviews every 5 minutes for a single role. I want to be able to find a qualified candidate that fits under the budget that I have for said role and is coachable and moldable so like that I can continue to help this individual grow. That is the way that I think as a hiring manager. So I think that as AI continues to progress, we're going to start to see some like positive moves within AI, but we're also going to start to see some AI fatigue. And some of y'all may be experiencing it already. Some of y'all, we know that we're experiencing it already because I'm hearing folks who are like, I met this person in person and they don't look like anything of what they shared online, because everything is covered through a filter or through some type of enhancement or through some type of feature, that what people are going to start to want is more raw and original mind, more raw and originality showing through. And maybe not right away, but I know for sure that's one of the things that folks are going to start to look for. Because y'all remember in 2020 when everything was happening on Zoom? Like everything was happening on Zoom. And I can tell you in 2020, when I was in the workplace and I was managing groups of people, there were people who either really got onto Zoom and they understood how to use it. And then there were people who had no clue how to leverage that technology. And so I think that as we continue to see AI grow and take place, you need to be prepared that you need to know where that falls. And I'm not telling you that you need to be the most extensive, like you need to have the most extensive education on AI, but you should be aware. If for nothing else, you should learn how to craft prompts that can have the AI do what you are asking it to do. Because as AI continues to grow, some of the mundane tasks will go to that. but it's still going to need a human touch. And one of the things that I talk about within our advanced group, like of the group coaching program that's about to start, is identifying whether you are a nice to have or a need to have. And in this type of market, you need to know where you fall in your organization. Are you a nice to have or are you a need to have? And the distinction pretty much is if if poo were to hit the fan tomorrow and I needed to get this job done, could I count on you, those of you who are watching me, could I count on you to get work done, or are you dead weight? And this goes far beyond than just, oh, we've always done it this way, or oh, that's not going to work for you anymore. Because just because you've always done it this way does not necessarily mean that that's the right way. Okay. So if you're tracking, I want you to type amen because I'm taking you to work church. Okay. I want you to type amen in the chat. So the other aspect of this too is automation. We have gotten to a point where folks don't want to wait. And you know how I know that? Because if I host an event, shameless plug, we are going to be hosting an in-person event in Houston, Texas in March. And I can't wait. So if you are in the DFW area and you are not on my email list, you need to get on there because this week we're going to drop where we're going to be, how much it's going to cost, all that other stuff. But the reason that I bring that up is because whenever I host an event, people want to know information immediately and they're not trying to wait. I wish that I could bring you behind the scenes when we're hosting one of our master classes, because you should see my DMs. The event hasn't even started yet. Okay, let's say that the event is going to take place at 7:00. At 6:59, I have people who are in my DMs. Where's the information? I don't have the link. I can't get this. Yada, yada, yada. And it's like, baby, we haven't started yet. Like the reason you can't access it is because it's not open. It's not that we're trying to keep you out. It's just we haven't started. And so the level of automation that we're going to see over the next several years and over the next couple of months is going to, like, people want things immediately, like super fast. It's the reason why we don't like to wait, but we become so impatient. Very good question. So if you comment the word list on IG, if you're watching me on IG, and if you comment the word list, you should get the link for you to be able to join the email list. Okay. If you comment the word list, you should be able to get the link so that you can join the email list. On that email list, upon you joining, there's a couple things that's going to happen. You're going to get the welcome email, but you're also going to get a masterclass where I'm teaching you how to become a woman of influence. Oh, and I love that class. But in how to become a woman of influence, how to leverage your influence, and the 7 things that top earners, women earners do. So that's one of the things that you'll get in that, like as soon as you join. But then later this week, you'll also get all of the details for the event that is going to be taking place in Houston, Texas. And I can't wait to meet y'all in person, but I also can't wait to teach y'all some of the stuff that I have here, because I have like notes and notes, but like where we can't go into all of it. Okay. So we're creating an environment where women can come, you can just be, and we can teach you from a way of like just practicality. So I talked about, in terms of trends, I talked about AI and like where we're going to see AI more of, right? I talked about automations and how like automating not just simple things, but automating communications, automating like automating all aspects of what your life looks like, what a company life looks like. And that's one of the things that I think we're going to see a lot of in the next couple coming months. Like for example, my assistant, she is no joke when it comes to automations. Like no joke. If I ask her for something, she immediately is on it. Like I'll say, I could be thinking about something and I'll be like, it's a really good idea if we do this, this, and this. And she's like, 50 steps ahead of me and already automating that process so that we can serve our community well. And that's one of the things that I love about her, because she's a systems type of individual. Her brain just operates very differently when it comes to that. And I know she's watching me. I love you to the moon and back, and I thank you for the work that you do. So I think automations is going to be something that you need to be very aware of. How AI is going to be used, I think you need to be very aware of. For those of you who have concerns about the way, like showing your face online or showing your work online, I'm going to need you to like start working on that slowly. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about in Texas is how we self-sabotage ourselves when it comes to seeking out new opportunities. This is not the first time that you've heard me talk about making sure that you have an online presence, that you're building a personal brand. It's almost like you know that you need to do those things, but there's something within you that holds you back. And I think a lot of that, at least for those who have backgrounds like mine, where you grew up in an inner city, or uh yeah, I grew up in the Bronx, okay? And there is just something about protecting your peace that we have lied to ourselves in thinking that it's easier if my work just speaks for me and I don't have to be present. Like, I don't have to show my face, right? It's easier if I could just get in a room, then they would really get to see who I am and they would fall in love with me. The truth of the matter is that the more that I've grown in my career and the more that I have scaled in my career, that is the biggest lie that I had to choose not to believe. If I could just put my head down and they could just focus on my work, they'll see that I'm the right one. Baby, no, they're not. Unfortunately, they're not. So creating an executive presence online and eliminating the self-sabotage that we go through, especially on platforms, professional ones like LinkedIn, because many people feel such apprehension, whether it's on LinkedIn or IG or YouTube, like there's this fear of showing up. And one of the things that my hope is with what we're going to do in Texas is that you would be, number one, that you would feel safe to be seen. For many of us, we've not felt safe to be seen. The environments where we work are not safe for us to be seen, because people have misconceptions of what it looks like, of how you should act, of how you should show up, of how you speak. Um, and the gambit is wide. I remember there were instances where people were like, "Oh, you grew up in the Bronx, but you don't sound like you grew up in the Bronx." And it's like, well, what am I supposed to sound like? Or when people find out that I'm Dominican, they'll be like, "Oh, but you don't look Dominican. Like, you don't sound Dominican." And it's like the sarcastic part of me is like, what am I supposed to look like? A sack of plantains? Like, somebody make it make sense. Or I'll have the other aspect of my personality or my character question. Oh, you don't look black. Like, you don't have enough. And it's like, who are you to determine where I fall? And so that's why your like online presence and your ability, your executive presence comes into play and comes in so strong, because you have to own your executive presence, right? And that's been very scary for us because we've been labeled, especially as women. You're either the angry Black girl, the spicy Latina, the docile Asian, right? The like, there's all these names that come with it. And it's like, how about you take several seats? Let me do this job and let me just show you who I am. I went off on a tangent, but I hope that that helps somebody, because leading to the trends that I have been talking about, the other trend that I think I'm going to see a lot more of is the need for real community. The reason that I do events in person is because nothing, and I don't care what anybody says, and maybe it's just Susanna, but nothing will replace the ability for you to build genuine relationship and connection in person. There's just something special that happens when you get like-minded, strong women in a room who are ready to take on the world without feeling like they need to be on or perform. Does that make sense? If that makes sense to you, I want you to tell me it makes sense. Because I remember what it was like to go to events and always feeling like I had to be on. Okay? And it would look like and it would look like, or it would sound like, people like, "Oh, you're not smiling." And it's like, I'm not smiling because I'm processing. "Oh, you seem to be off to yourself," because I need that time to be off to myself in efforts for me to like make it make sense. And there was the other aspect that I don't think we talk about enough. Um, it's a safety mechanism. Like, I'm gonna keep you at arm's length because I don't know when you about to spaz. But as AI continues to grow, as those types of things start to infiltrate the places and spaces that we're in, I think that having the need for real community that starts off with purpose and with intention becomes so powerful. One of the things that I'm going to be teaching on in Texas when we meet is what it looks like to build your own executive board. So if you work for any company, there's a board of executives or a board of directors. Um, and I really wish that we had more women who understood the power of what that looks like. Because my hope is, as I create these types of events, that you would walk, like that you would encounter people that would speak your name in rooms filled with opportunity. One of the biggest blessings that I experienced was the last job that I had to technically apply for that job because of like laws and regulation. But someone who had not seen me in 9 years spoke my name in a room that was filled with opportunity, and that led for me to be able to move into that opportunity. And that is my hope for y'all, wherever you're watching me, whether you're watching me on YouTube or you're watching me on IG. And so for us to be able to create those types of environments where you can have those conversations. Another thing that I wish more women had was conversations around salary and salary negotiation. The reason why that last role I was able to confidently ask for what I asked for was because the person who spoke my name also gave me game on what salary I should be asking for. And many of us, the biggest complaint that I hear is, I applied for this job, but the salary is not posted. How many of you have encountered that? I applied for this position, but I don't even know because the salary is not posted. And then when you have a conversation, it's like, dang, this is way lower than anything that I could accept. So phew, if you are in the DFW area and you are going to be there March 19th through the 21st, baby, please make sure you are in the room. We are going to spend 2 days pouring into you, but also like having very real, open conversations. And like, I can't give it all to y'all right now, but like it's gonna be so good. Like, our speakers are other women who are powerhouses in their own right, who are going to be talking about emotional intelligence, how to leverage the street smarts that you have in corporate, how do I identify those power plays, what it looks like to have your own executive board. Like, there's just going to be so much richness in that room. So if you want to get on the list, on the email list, you'll get two things. You'll get the masterclass on how to become a person of influence, but secondly, you'll get all of the details. This Thursday, you'll get all of the details on how to register, where we're going to be, what's the hotel, what the price is, like all of those things. You'll get those on Thursday. Okay. Getting back to trends. Listen, when it's Susanna and I have the opportunity to connect with other women and give them game and still be myself and still have fun, oh baby, let me tell you, I get really excited. But anyway, the other and the last thing that I think we're going to see a lot of in 2025 is portfolio work, which is another reason why I want you to have an online presence. While Now this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but I spent, oh my goodness, I'm going to say almost 2 decades. And I know I look 21 plus shipping and handling. I know, but I spent almost 20 years within the world of education, specifically within the world of higher education. And one of the things that I've always found so interesting is I love education, which is the reason why I teach the way that I do. But what I found really interesting after being in higher education for so long was that we did a really good job of getting the students to graduation, teaching them up until graduation. But we did not necessarily teach them how to live life abundantly after graduation. And the longer that I was in my roles within higher ed, the sadder that made me, because I would watch my students walk across the stage, get the degrees that they have busted their behinds for, only to be incredibly frustrated 6 months after, because now their loans are due. And secondly, they don't have a job to cover the expenses for said loans. Okay. And I lived that. I lived that. No one really no one broke down to me, start to build a portfolio of the things that you've done in college, because there were things that I did already in college that were transferable skills, but no one taught me how to leverage that. So those are the things that I think portfolio work is what you're going to see a lot more of. So if you've not started to track the work that you are doing, I'm going to highly encourage you to do so. Because on top of that, I think that as we continue to look at the job landscape, I'm not surprised that organizations are going to be asking you to do projects as a part of the hiring process. Protect your intellectual property, ladies and gentlemen. Do not go and give any organization your work for free. I'm going to say that again. Do not give any organization your work for free. Okay. So if they ask you to do a part of a project, give them a little taste of what you can do, but do not do the whole kit and caboodle. And if you do, that is freelance work. That should be followed by an invoice. Okay. So those are the things that I think we're going to see more trends around. We're going to see AI and automation. Like that's just going to be, we're going to see more of that. It's already in the workplace. I just don't think that job seekers or candidates have been aware of how much it's been. We're also going to see AI fatigue and the need for more community, which is I love that. I love AI, but I also um love leveraging in-person events. And I think that the growth of portfolio work is going to start to make a presence. And the reason that I say that is because while we have students who are graduating from colleges and universities, if you're not in the world of academe, then you may not know this, but there are less and less students enrolling in colleges and universities. Mainly because there's not as many children being born and going the traditional education route. I would like this was stuff that I was telling my previous organization 3, 4 years ago, that we would see this, that we would see a decline in enrollment simply because of birth rate, but also because there would be more of an interest in students being able to get tangible dollars, um, more than just a degree. So, if that is indeed the case, a portfolio of your experience and the things that you have done is going to be very beneficial, especially for my folks who feel like I'm too old and nobody would hire me. We had one of our clients, I believe her name is Shelby. Shelby is in her 60s and she just signed her offer for a 6-figure deal working with us. So please do not let the lie of I'm too old dwell in your head that you can't get hired, because that's not what we're seeing. But Shelby had a portfolio, Shelby had a resume, and Shelby was coached on what to say and what not to say and how to show up. I had another client of ours, or actually not even a client. This person is one of our tribe members, 7 months pregnant, just signed a new job offer. Okay. So it's not that it's not impossible. Like, it's not that it won't happen for you. You just have to be able to know how to show up, what to say, what information to present, and what not to share. Okay. So I know you guys have questions, and I want to be able to honor the questions that have come in ahead of time, and then I'll take some of y'all's questions. So this is what we're going to do. If you have a question and you're watching me on IG, I want you to leverage the question bubble and put your question in there. Please don't put it in the chat, because then I can't see it. There's a lot of comments that come in, and then I won't be able to answer your question. So if you have a question on IG, there is like a question bubble. I want you to drop your question in there and I'll try to get to your question. But one of the questions that I got was, how can you tell when the candidate you are interviewing has an arrogant personality versus confidence? Ooh, wee! I'm going to answer that question. But how can you tell when a candidate you are interviewing has an arrogant personality versus confidence? There is one thing that I used to find really, I don't even know what the right word is, but when it comes to that, a confident candidate does not need to defend all that much, because they will be able to speak to their experience. An arrogant candidate will not shut up. And that has been my experience. Arrogant candidates will talk circles around everything except answering the question that you ask them. That, to me, that level of arrogance drives me bananas. I'll give you an example. I was in the middle of interviewing someone and we were looking for a Spanish speaking candidate. And the individual that was interviewing with me was very, very arrogant in the way that they showed up. Just from the moment that they walked into the office, they did not greet the person who was sitting in the waiting area. So our receptionist, they didn't greet that individual. They would not shake my hand. They would not make eye contact. And when they sat down, they kind of like huffed and puffed. So that's already sending me a bunch of red flags. But you're here, I'm here. We're going to make the most out of this interview. We sat down. I went through all of my spiel. Tell me about yourself. What do you know about our organization? How do you think that you would be a great fit? Every response was anywhere between, I'm going to say, 10 to 15 minutes. That is entirely way too long. Way too long. It should not take you 15 minutes to answer a single question. We're going to be here for a long time. Okay? But someone who is who's in their bag, as my nephews say, who are confident in what they say, it doesn't take a lot of words. But anyway, this person told me that they were fluent in Spanish. Now, I just told you, I speak Spanish. Okay. And not like just barely Spanish. Spanish is the language that we spoke in my household. It was one of the first things that I learned to speak. So, knowing what I know about Susanna, I started to ask questions in Spanish. And the individual was just like, well, I'm not ready to answer that question. Well, what do you mean? We're in the middle of an interview. You told me that you spoke Spanish. I have clients who are going to need someone who speaks Spanish. So I need to understand at what level of Spanish you are at. We ended the conversation there. Because nothing stays hidden under the sun. Don't come in here being rude to people, speaking to no end, and not answering a question. That's the reason why I give you guys framework. Use the STAR method. Use the PAR method. You've heard me say that. There's a reason behind that. Not only is it to calm your nerves, but it's so like that you can make a fruitful interview. So needless to say, that interviewee and we did not hit it off. But there was a certain level of air that this person had because they were a big fish in a small pond. And then they were coming to meet another big fish. And it was like, baby, I'm not here for that. Do you habla español or no? No? Okay, so let's keep going. All right. So the ways that you can tell when a person is either arrogant or confident, pay attention to body language. Oh, I wish I could teach y'all on body language and interviewing. Pay attention to body language because you can tell. You can tell the way that a person walks in. You can tell by the way that they stand. You can tell by the way that they speak, their tonality. There's so much. There's so much. So I hope that answered the question. All right, let me get to the next question that I had. All right. One of our tribe members asked, how do I compare / make a case for myself against the colleague? Okay, so two people are going for the same position. One colleague has a year of seniority over this person who asked the question, but they struggle with interpersonal skills. Okay, so our tribe member has strong interpersonal skills. The person that they're up against does not. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. So reach out your hand. I'm gonna hold it. Do not take for granted the ability to leverage your interpersonal skills. It goes a long way. Do not take for granted your ability to leverage your interpersonal skills. Because while this person may have a year of seniority, not everybody who has a year of seniority knows how to lead well. Okay? And sometimes, y'all know, sometimes it's the person who's well liked over the person who's well versed who gets the job. So if you know that you have strong interpersonal skills, you need to get fans on your side. This is why in the event at Texas, this is why we talk about these kinds of things, because you need to have people who can speak to your strong suit, not just based off of the technical aspect of what you do, but based off of the interpersonal relationship that you've built. And I don't think many people understand what that looks like. That's why you have some managers that is like, why did you end up in this role? Okay. All right. So let me see. Ooh, we got a lot of questions. All right. Let's see. We're getting to your questions. Will the Texas event be featured online and in person? It will be in person. We will not have an online aspect of the event. But great question. Next question is, how do you manage the work stress, or should we move out from that job? Couple things that I would say to pay attention to. If there's one thing to have work stress, it's another thing entirely for you to have chronic work stress. Here's what I mean. When you have work stress, it will show up like you starting a new job and you're really excited and you're trying to understand all of the aspects of this new role. That will bring on a certain level of stress. That is a good stress because it's new to you, you're learning, you're growing, you're amplifying your skill. Chronic work stress sounds and feels like Sunday night, you are already dreading Monday morning because all of the toxicity that is happening. Because the moment that you open your email or the moment that you get to work, there's already a fire happening. You're already on edge. You're responding to people in a way that is going to be offensive. You're very short with people. Pay attention to those cues because that's how you can identify whether or not it's time for you to look for a new role or you can stay in the same position. Okay. So pay attention to those types of things. Also, your body keeps score, ladies. Your body keeps score. So for Susanna, I knew it was time for me to leave my previous role because my body was physically having a response to what was going on at work. That's not what we're trying to do. If you don't take a break, your body's going to make you take one. That's not what we want. So the difference between good stress and the difference between bad stress is what is the physical response that your body is having. And maybe for all of you, like maybe you don't have a physical response. But if Sunday night gives you the heebie-jeebies because Monday morning you have to be in this place and it's been consistently like that for months, it's time for you to start looking. It's time for you to start looking. Next question is, I'm getting promoted to director. Yes, I'm getting promoted to director, possibly in October of this year. They asked for the salary range, and my manager told me that I'd be in pay band 6. I'm not sure what pay band 6 is. I have 17 years of experience and plan to be in the high end of the salary range as director. Any suggestions? My love, I'm not entirely sure what your question is. However, what I'm going to speak to is now your leadership role. Couple things that I want you to pay attention to. Familiarity breeds contempt. Okay. Your employees, those people who are going to be reporting into you, it's one thing to develop a coaching and mentoring relationship. It's another thing entirely to make them your friends. You are now the director and you are now responsible to lead well. Friendship should not be the first thing that you're going after, because if you're too friendly, when it becomes time for you to call people out on bad behavior, they won't respect you. And some of y'all are going to be really upset that I said that, but that has been my lived experience. Be firm, but be kind. Okay. Be firm, but be kind. Be very well aware to honor your word. I'm going to say that again. As a director, be very well aware that you are honoring your word, because that is how you build a team that can trust you. If you say one thing and you do something else, you're going to lose them. Okay? So pay attention to that. And when it comes to the salary expectation, especially at now this director level, know what your bands are. At the salary negotiation class that I taught last week, we talked about identifying what your personal ranges are. Know what the ranges are for that role, but also know what the ranges are. Know what your personal ranges are. So like that, you're not in a position that is taking, and not compensating you accurately. Okay. When you go into a leadership role, remember that now you think differently. Leaders should be able to see beyond and before their team and lead with an open hand. Oh, I love teaching this. Lead with an open hand and not a closed fist. Because with an open hand, your team will feel supported. They will feel seen, and you will have created a culture where people want to work with you. But when you lead with a closed fist or an iron hand, like some people like to say, don't nobody want to work with you. They're going to be running in the opposite direction. And if you suspect that your A-listers are not performing the way that you want them to, they're probably on their way out because companies want top talent. And if they know that they're top talent, they're going to be looking. Okay? So just pay attention to that. And congratulations. Next question is, I'm interviewing for a position that I didn't apply for. I still want the higher position. Should I bring this up during the interview? So you're interviewing for a position that you didn't apply for and you want a higher position? Should you bring this up during the interview? To be honest with you, I'm not sure I understand this question. So here goes Lauren or Lauren. Give me a little bit more context, okay? How do I know when it's time to quit? How do I know when it's time to quit or look for another job? Number one, what is your body saying? Number two, there are almost 200 of y'all watching me. You should always be paying attention to what is happening in the market. I'm going to say that again. You should always be paying attention to what is happening in the market. The best time for you to find a job is while you still have one. Okay? The best time for you to find a job is while you still have one, because it takes the pressure off. And if you find a role that you actually enjoy and you want to pursue, then now you have leverage. So if you are asking yourself, should I quit this job? I would get curious and start asking myself, why is that a question? If you're asking yourself and asking me, when should I quit? I would get curious as to, why is that a question that I am asking? Because there's probably something deeper there that we have not addressed. Okay? So that's what I would pay attention to. But pay attention to your body, pay attention to what's going on in the market, and what transferable skills do you have that you can leverage elsewhere. All right. I'm just trying to catch up on y'all's comments. Y'all had a lot of good questions. So okay, I'm gonna answer this question, and I've played multiple roles in my last job. They were there for 21 years. How do I express it on my resume? We actually see quite a few of our clients who have a lot of years of experience like that. And one of the things that we encourage them to pay attention to is, you are not the same person that you were when you first started that job. So I would go back in the last 10 years and kind of give, what is the history over the last 10 years. Do not go back to the first job that you had at this role, because what we want to see as hiring managers, I can't speak for recruiters because I've never been a recruiter, but as a hiring manager, I want to see, how did you evolve? How do you critically think, and how do you solve problems? Because if I'm hiring, the reason that I am hiring is because I have a problem and I need someone who is competent enough to be able to solve it. You have over 21 years of experience. I would start to we talked about AI, leverage AI in terms of being able to understand what are the most top skills that they're looking for, and how do I have these top skills? And then make a case for yourself based off of those top skills. Many of you can do a lot of things, but a lot of things are not necessary on your resume. Okay, so just consider that information. What are the top skills that are needed in this season, and how can I make a case for myself based off of those top skills? That's how we would encourage you to leverage that on your resume. We've seen clients who come to us with 5, 10-page resumes. In the United States, your resume unless you are creating a CV, which is usually in the world of academia, your resume really shouldn't be more than 2 pages. So if you have a lot of experience, I would pay attention to what are the top skills that are needed right now and how can I leverage those. Um, this is probably going to be the last one that I yeah, somebody said 10 pages. Yes, yes, yes. Um, what are the pros and cons of 2 weeks notice versus same day resignation? So I was having this conversation with another tribe member. Couple things that I want you to pay attention to is the first thing is know your industry. I'm gonna say that one more time. Before you go and submit a resignation, know your industry. Know your industry. The reason that I say know your industry is because while you may never be going back to this place ever again, and you are bidding them farewell and you don't want to see them ever again, you don't know who they know at your current place that you're walking away from. And while industries are big, we talk and we talk often. So if you left on a bad note and left a sour taste, it's going to eventually catch up with you. Okay? It is. So know your industry. Now, in the same token, there are companies that are not worth that 2 week grace period. There are companies who you will give your resignation and they'll terminate you immediately. Know your organization, okay? Know what it is that they say in the employee handbook. Case in point, how many of you have read through your employee handbook? How many? How many can tell me that you've read through your employee handbook and you know it well? If you've read through your employee handbook and you know it well, I want you to drop a 3 in the chat. Drop a 3. But if all you've done is like, give me it real quick, and like you're not sure where that falls, you need to know your organization. Because one example that I'll give you, when I was walking away from my last role, I had to give them 4 weeks. 4 weeks of notice in order for me to be able to take with me all of the time that I had accumulated, all of the pay that I had accumulated, and all of my retirement efforts. So if I only would have done 2 weeks, I still, by industry standard, would have been okay, no harm, no foul. But I would have lost out on all of that. So know your industry, know your organization, and know your rights as an employee. Later this week, I'm going to be going live with Caged Bird, HR, and work receipts, and we're going to be talking about that. Okay. I think that giving a 2 weeks notice, if you have been respected at the organization and you have ties to that same industry where that organization operates, I think that that might be something for you to consider. But in the same token, if you have not been respected, if you've been violated, if they have not shown you value for the work that you've been, same day also is an option. Because guess what? When these organizations are about to lay off people, they don't give you 2 weeks. They bid you farewell. And the most humiliating thing that I've seen is that then they have security walk you out. Like, what are we doing here? You're letting go of me and then you're having security work me out? Something about that just feels wrong. But yeah, that's my thought on those. So know your industry. When I left my role, I gave the 4 weeks because I was personally vested into what I wanted to make sure that I received. And the other thing that I wanted to be very well aware of, remember that when I was leaving my role, I thought I was going to retire from higher education. I loved it. And so, because I knew my industry, because I knew that they met often at conferences, at weekend retreats, because I was very, very mindful of the brand of Susanna Alba within that world, I wanted to protect that. But now it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, so listen, I hope that this was helpful for y'all. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I am going to be going live again with work receipts later this week. Let me give you the date so like that you know when to expect it. But I believe we're going live on Thursday, January 16th. Yeah, so January 16th, we'll be going live on Thursday at 12 noon. And we're going to be talking about what to do in the midst of a political shift and how to protect your career and also protect your well-being. And then shameless plug, if you want to rock with us in March and get some career development in real time, March 19th through the 21st, we are going to be in the Dallas, Texas area. So if you are in the DFW area, we cannot wait to spend this retreat with you and pour into you. We'll be talking about everything from building your board of directors, emotional intelligence, searching, negotiating, all of the things. So if you comment list, LIST, you will get the link to join the email list because on Thursday, we'll be dropping the information of where in Dallas we're going to be, what the cost for registration will be, and we'll also be dropping how you can join us. So if you comment list on IG, you will be able to join us. Well, you'll be able to get the information to join us. You'll know the registration price. You'll know the hotel night price. Yeah, and it really is going to be a very good time. Very good time. We are going to do work for sure, but we're also going to make sure that we take care of you as the individual. And really, I just want to meet y'all. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait to connect with y'all. I can't wait to meet y'all, to see you, and just be be present. So hold on one second. Make sure that you guys got it. What is going on? If you comment the word list, you should be able to get the information. We will be in the Dallas area, Dallas, DFW area. That's where we're going to be. I believe the hotel is going to be about 30 minutes away from the DFW airport. So yeah, we want to be able to join you, meet you, answer your questions. It's gonna be good, y'all. It's gonna be good. So, okay, let me make sure you guys got this. All right. So again, if you comment the word list, and sometimes Susanna the bot can be a little slow, so just bear with her. But if you comment the word list, you should be able to get the link to meet us. Are y'all getting it? I want to make sure you're getting it. Oh, I don't think y'all got it. All right, y'all are telling me you didn't. Let's try this again. Let's try that again. Um, Again, if you comment the word list, you should get an email from Susanna, a message from Susanna the bot. So like that you can, so like that you can get on the email list. Oh no, y'all are telling me you didn't get it. Comment the word list, and Susanna the bot should be sending you some information. If that is not happening, I'm going to tell you where to go. There's two ways that you can get on the list. You can go to my profile and go to the link that's there, and it's going to say something like, "Hey sis." You can register for that. That's what you're going to get on. That's what the list is. Hey sis. But if you go to my profile and click on the link that's in my profile, you should be able to get on the Hey Sis newsletter, and that will give you the information for the masterclass that I told you about, how to become a woman of influence, but also on any of the events that we have coming up. Okay. All right. Y'all are getting in. Susanna the bot, I'm telling you, she's like, sometimes she be on it. Sometimes she'd be like, "Fran, I'm not ready." So yeah, if you comment the word list, you should be able to get it. Question here is, so if you get on the email list, you'll get the information for Dallas, for sure. But we plan on doing these in-person career boot camps, not only in Dallas. We're probably going to do one either in California, depending on how Cali is doing. But also, we will either want to go into Cali or we want to go into the like DFW area, not DFW, the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, the DMV area. For our folks. So there's a couple different places that we're considering. We're considering Delaware, Maryland, Washington area, Washington, D.C., the DMV, yeah. We're also considering the Atlanta, ATL area. So like that we can get like Florida and stuff. And Cali is another place that we're considering. So if you get on the list, when we do the next one, you'll know, but we'll definitely be in the Dallas area in March. March is when we're going to be in Dallas. And then later in the year, we're looking to do another one, but we're not entirely sure what area we're going to go to just yet. But this is why you want to be on the list, my love. Because when the next one drops, you'll be able to join us. But this has been good. I've missed talking with y'all. And we're pushing. I want to be respectful of your time because we've been going for a minute. But Dallas, we will come and see you in March. We'll spend 2 incredible days with you, equipping you, building you up. So tell your friend to tell your friend, come join us. And even if you can't make it to Dallas, you want to get on the list, because if we do another one of these later in the year, you'll be the first to know where we will be and get all of the tea. I can't wait to meet you guys. So it's gonna be a good time. So thank you so much for joining me, for rocking with your girl. I will see you again on Thursday at 12 noon for our live with Caged Bird. I can't wait for y'all to hear all of the awesomeness that is going to be happening there. And if you got on the list, my love, keep an eye on your inbox so like that you can get all of the information, and the masterclass that is absolutely free. And enjoy. I hope you guys have the most amazing rest of your day. Thank you for rocking with me, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.